Chronicles channel of light fluid. The Yellmach Chronicles by MC Morrado. Take 2, March 17th, 1932. I still have nightmares of my venture into what's left of Kavlaka with Alex. Working 7 days a week is not something I mind. It's like I have many adventures outside of being a female fireman on the Y&R. Alex and I were standing in Derrin's busy workshop in Hartsgard. Derrin showed off his personal engines, being cobbler, an old steam tram built in 1898 that's fallen apart, and a black retired express engine from 1921, being a black 460 tender engine named Iron Knight. Derrin's workshop also acted as a place where locomotives are sometimes repaired. I was drawn to Iron Knight's massive size as a former express engine. Cobbler, as usual, was busy around the rail yard, and Derrin's workshop, being a well-performing workhorse, working almost all around the clock, never getting tired. The old steam tram is used as a railway maintenance vehicle, mainly pulling breakdown trains or transporting railway maintenance workers. Iron Knight, on the other hand, is a big, proud engine able to get most jobs done around the Y&R. Alex and I were tasked with helping around Derrin's bustling workshop today. Alex loves it here. His tail is constantly wagging inside Derrin's workshop. The Y&R recently ordered brand new diesel breakdown cranes, along with other diesel cranes to replace the much older steam counterparts. All of the functional but quite old steam-powered breakdown cranes and other railway cranes are being sold off to railways in Podsia and Kavlaka that desperately need them. Yellmach is now the first and only nation to manufacture diesel railway cranes and breakdown cranes through a domestic industrial manufacturer called Perv de Steel, founded in 1883. Nobody in the general public, except for maybe a few rail enthusiasts who mostly care about their locomotives, would object to steam cranes being replaced with new diesel ones. What happens with the Y&R regarding cranes is happening to all other Yelvian railways as well. Still, the mighty steam locomotive is untouchable. Those rare steam locomotives that have cranes on them are still going to be used because of how useful they still are. Y&R has quite a few steam cranes being sent off to scrappers. I could use a couple of boilers for my experiments. Derrin thought out loud to himself, the Lynx tinkering around with the new miniature-scale model of his modern oil-burning power plant design. Alex gladly helped build whatever with his best friend. I could only watch one inventor work. I'm just some corgi too short for certain jobs. Can't even reach the top shelf if I tried. Derrin is one of the inventors leading Yellmach's rapid technological advance, which makes going into our neighbouring countries feel like walking into the past. We're living in the future in 1932. Our country currently manufactures 75% of all new unpowered railway rolling stock in Yozur. All of the foreign competition went out of business from air raids destroying factories. Some locomotives and certain kinds of rolling stock are only built and used by Yelvian railways. How are these? Alex beamed with curious excitement, picking up a stack of sketches drawn by his long-time best friend. My dreams, mate. Y&R uses multiple types of tender engines, mostly mixed traffic ones, going at different top speeds. My team's in the process of making one class of engine to outdo them all, Derrin announced, stirring a feeling of wonder from everyone. Go on, we're listening, Alex replied, helping the Lynx wrench on and tweak his experimental miniature power plant prototype. My locomotive builder is making my design a reality. A streamlined beauty it'll be, 120 miles per hour, pulling every passenger train. Hauling even the heaviest of freight trains like it's nothing, Derrin boasted, showing me paper drawings of quite a streamlined big tender engine indeed. Derrin showboated and was interrupted by one of the Y&R shunting locomotives put into the workshop. A big black 042T tank engine whished out steam on coming to a stop. Mr. Thomas! The King's calling. He wants you on the telephone. The sweaty bear in overalls hollered from the workshop's second floor. Derrin stopped what he was doing, sprinting upstairs to pick up a telephone call from none other than King Eric. Alex took this opportunity, jumping inside the cab of that black tank engine. I reluctantly followed him inside. I don't think we should be exploring cabs of random engines, I advised in a tone indicating I really don't want the Grey Wolf getting us in trouble somehow. Nonsense. Nobody will mind, the scrawny Grey Wolf huffed, resisting the urge to laugh. Edith, Alex, the King says I have to drive an engine to Kavlaka. Want to come with me? Derrin announced, getting our attention. Yeah, Alex shouted with excited glee as I protested. Wait, no, at the exact same time. Well, let's get cracking. Derrin boomed, hopping into the cab with us. Soon Alex was reversing the black tank engine out of the workshop as I shuffled coal into the engine's firebox when needed. Derrin stood around inside the cab giving directions. Well, King Eric told me to collect a special coach with a brake fan coupled to it from a siding around here somewhere. Derrin gave rather vague directions only Alex understood. Oh, I think I know what it is, Alex muttered, eventually reversing the tank engine to a siding and got out to help Derrin couple the special coach and a seemingly regular brake fan. It took a few seconds to realise that the special coach is part of the Yellmach royal family's train. Whoa, I gasped, not believing I was so close to one of the royal family's coaches. The royal family has long since abandoned using horse-drawn carriages when King Eric started fully using trains or the most expensive luxury automobiles instead for getting around. The last horse-drawn carriage for the royal family was constructed in 1917. Some royal family members still use the old horse-drawn carriages from time to time, but mostly for the sake of being bombastic and showing off. King Eric hasn't been seen riding the horse-drawn carriage since 1917, when he started being chauffeured in high-end automobiles instead, mostly to differentiate himself from other monarchs. King Eric has actively made sure no new horse-drawn carriages are built for the royal family, in a way politely telling the royal family to suck it up. After Derrin and Alex got the special coach and brake fan coupled up, they hopped back into the black tank engine's cab to start our journey. To Kavlaka we go, Derrin declared, going back to doing what he does best by giving directions. Is King Eric inside the special coach? I asked, eager to know. Nah, it's empty. Nobody's in there. The special coach is for hosting peace talks. Hopefully we can end the main war between Bosnia and Kavlaka peacefully at all possible. Derrin gave me news I didn't expect. The idea sounds noble, but I'd really not have been roped into this. But here I am anyway. We left the Heartsguard Central Station rail yard, now en route towards war-torn Kavlaka at full steam. Our journey took us southeast, crossing the border by going over a bridge like last time. Yellmach is a big, oddly shaped island. The only way to see the rest of Yozor is either by ferry or by train. No bridges for cars exist yet. All Yalvian steam ferries in service have been replaced by shiny new diesel ferries, as a small part of how the marine industry rapidly went through with this new thing called dieselization, out of adapting to not have any coal in Yellmach. Dieselization is okay in a lot of contexts, but as long as it doesn't lead to any steam locomotives being taken out of service, I'm alright with it. After all, Yellmach did invent steam engines and is the very first nation to rapidly adopt the use of diesel-powered things for industrial use. Alex once told me that our country's government is keeping this whole dieselization in a lot of industries a secret from the rest of Yozos, still using the old steam-powered everything. Farmers back home still use steam traction engines, those still have a heck of a lot more pulling power than anything diesel. After crossing a kilometres-long bridge into a war-destroyed Kavlaka from the state of our very modern homeland, being careful along neglected tracks is a must. Jeez, this place looks even more destroyed than last time, Derrin awkwardly mentioned, looking out the black tank engine's cab to see a burning wasteland of a forgotten battlefield left behind. Yeah, said we're supposed to head to Kavlaka's capital city, right? Alex interjected, reminding us of our objective. Correct. We're paying a visit to the new Kavlakian Prime Minister. I think his name is Mikhail Dobrovsky. Everyone either calls him General Dobrovsky or just Dobrovsky for short. Derrin spoke up, trying to remember the new Prime Minister's name. We met him on our last trip here before he became Prime Minister, I added, elbowing Alex's side. This led to one very uncomfortable talk between a lynx and grey wolf. What's left of Kavlaka showed destroyed scenery on all sides. Pozdian bomber planes flew overhead dropping bombs on all of creation within the Kavlakan landscape. Screams of agony from dying soldiers killed any silence, besides bombers flying overhead. Burnt-out tanks blocked roads. Abandoned armoured vehicles littered the battlefield in various states of disrepair. Fields on fire. Dead soldiers, sometimes in literal pieces, left behind. The sky made cloudy by so much smoke from places and corpses and military vehicles all burning. Some Pozdian soldiers can be seen wielding flamethrowers, setting everything alight. It didn't matter if the people being charred alive were civilians fleeing or Kavlakan soldiers fighting till their demise. Chemical weapons being dropped made everything in the distance blanketed in a yellowish-brown fog, indiscriminately exterminating everything living. It smells like horseradish from inside the state of a tank engine's cab from here. According to what I see so far, at least 80% of buildings in Kavlaka have been completely destroyed by now. Whole cities razed by air raids are a common sight. Broken air raid sirens sounding off every minute of every hour, sending chills to anyone hearing these tired, broken sirens echoing from far away. Stopping to refuel on water and coal is a dicey task we did regardless. Being stranded is more dangerous than anything. We quickly observed how almost nowhere had electricity anymore. Possibly must have bombed the power plants to smithereens. Derrin spoke up, breaking our observing silence. Lights on anywhere. The buildings round you haven't been destroyed already, Alex replied with a blank expression. The grey wolf didn't appear visibly bothered, continued to drive our only mode of transport. I hear the Sivan Kavlakans have been digging burrows underground to stay alive during air raids. Possibly our ordered soldiers kill everybody hide inside those burrows, meaning they're burning them all alive. Derrin gave a general idea of why everywhere looks like how a sadist would imagine hell. The tracks the tank engine chuffed along started showing gradually more disrepair, some kilometres of track peppered in light rust. Tall weeds and creeping vines grew all over the neglected tracks, ballast and wooden sleepers. We didn't need to worry about running out of coal. Abandoned coal trucks left behind in sidings each had tons of Kavlakan coal. Abandoned coal-in stations are still functional, which is a surprise. Some water towers weren't entirely functional, if not outright broken. All signal boxes in Kavlaka sat empty. Steam locomotives were derailed, left to rot in sidings, forgotten in sheds, and a few even destroyed by falling bombs. The tank engine had to go sloper in the special coach and a brake van. Alex wasn't risking derailment on tracks I've seen better days. By the time we were slightly more than halfway to the Kavlaka's capital city, Pospila, the sun had started to set. I think we should stop at a siding for the night. Things get even more dangerous at night. The brake van is a YNR towed model. She'd have more than enough room for the three of us to sleep, Derrin ordered sternly, her voice showing clear concern. Alex didn't say a word as that grey wolf quickly found a random siding and stopped the engine for the night. Why is it even more dangerous at night? Wouldn't everyone be asleep? I pondered, not sure what the links entirely meant. Derrin didn't answer. When the engine's fire was put out, I hopped out of the cab to follow Alex and Derrin to the brake van for the night. Alex shut the door behind me after I walked in last. The brake van is stocked with gas masks, crates of army food rations, 2 kerosene lamps, hand-crank powered electric torches, a sealed tin jug containing 5 litres of extra kerosene, clean sets of sheets and blankets, normal food to last us days, and a portable kerosene stove. Could put all of this here, I gasped, for I knew could have stocked a brake van with enough supplies to last a while. Okay, I get the Royal Army stock a brake van and everything we might need for the journey. He knows how bad things have gotten in Kavlaka, or what's left of it. This brake van is a shelter while down in a full-blown war zone. Doesn't trust buildings that might either get bombed or collapse any minute at random, Derrin casually answered, knowing the king won't let us go unprepared. How about some cocoa? We've been operating an engine all day without any breaks for food or having something to drink, Alex exclaimed, getting out the portable kerosene stove. I cracked open a window or two to vent out any kerosene fumes. Derrin lit 1 kerosene lamp before hanging it up as this brake van's only light source. Being in a brake van with 2 men, a lynx and a grey wolf, it's not bad. What's annoying is how neither of them have any romantic interest in me. As a corgi and a woman, other ladies my age already have boyfriends or even husbands. Makes me feel abnormal for a corgi. Good thing my immediate family isn't bothered about those sort of things relating to my personal life and lack of dating experience. Other girls my age are aspiring to doing typical jobs such as sewing in factories, being school teachers, being nurses, secretaries, or settling down as a typical housewife. Me taking a job normally reserved for men is not as easy as I originally thought, but well worth it in my eyes personally. 3 generations of my family have been working on Yelvian railways, and all I'm doing is honouring a family tradition, and it sure pays well. Yellmach does not have any minimum wage laws, and child labour is still a common practice, despite it being outlawed 20 years ago. By most standards, my salary of 500 Yelvian pounds a year is definitely a bit above average. I have my own little house back in the small town of Sudrin Junction. Alex made us some cocoa. I got some random army rations for dinner. We talked about how hyperinflation caused Positive's old shilling currency to become virtually worthless, discussing what we heard on the radio a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, a few photographers even showed me a few photographs of a Bosnian soldier put up with a wheelbarrow filled with cash by a loaf of bread. Absolutely bonkers. Alex says in a tone of, "You're not going to believe this." That's all news, mate. When the war started, King Eric raised the central bank interest rates from 4.3% to 16% overnight. Everybody complained at first, but nowadays I have a neutral opinion of it. No minimum wage laws, central bank interest rates skyrocketed overnight 2 years ago, a wartime stock market collapse, and petrol rationing. Really makes the Yellvian pound deflate by a lot. It's good for us. Everything's a lot cheaper nowadays. Derrin told us some insight only someone who knows our king would truly know in depth. We drank hot cocoa and ate our salty tasting food rations, reminiscing how good we have it back home. All power plants back home are owned by one crown-owned company called Cardinal Electric. No trusts or robber barons to profit off something meant for everybody. Cardinal Electric also owns everything related to water and sewage. Everybody's utility bills are sent from Cardinal Electric. All the railways are nationalised and have been since 1807, way before robber barons became a problem in other nations. Every Yellvian citizen is covered by a nationwide National Health Service. Every hospital is government-owned, non-profit. Nobody is paid for hospital visits, and the National Health Service was signed into existence by King Eric in 1914, when an epidemic of smallpox started killing off poor or homeless people living in squalor. Even though King Eric's late father, King James III, was an incompetent, drunkard and terrible ruler, King Eric's a heck of a lot better than King James III. That's for certain. Alex, Derrin and myself cracked a few jokes about Yellmach's previous king. Everybody either mocks King James III out of being drunk all the time or a canine born in 1850 who had many scandalous affairs cheating on his wives. Probably why King Eric didn't marry until he was 40. And we will continue with this trip in the next chapter, Dead on Arrival, which will be in a couple of weeks or so. So in this world, Yellmach may have created the steam locomotive. No, of course it was Richard Trevithick, a Cornishman, and it ran on the Penydarren tramway in 1804, and that ended right by where I used to live back in the day. You can't see anything of it now. It's a little plaque there to mark the occasion. But yeah, that was how steam locomotives started. Quite a long time ago. Anyway, enough of railway history. Before I go, I always want to say thank you to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon, and my top patrons Omar, Rafu, Spiderling, Samuto, Tiger Cub, Aramatarasu, Bulbers Need Coffee, Andy Peng, Aaron Fox, Bastian, Bieka, Brian Hall, Cobus Visser, Dissonance, Exact, Grizz, Harvest Mouse Productions, Edek Orval, Evan King, Kartek, Matt Kenya, Maria Cervantes, and Mohammed Al-Zaman. And thank you for watching and subscribing to the channel. Yes, coming up this weekend, we have an interlude in Remember the Flowers. I'll be meeting an old face. And then we have 2 new series starting this month. I'll introduce those to you later on when we get to them. But this has been the Yellmach Chronicles, the latest chapter. Probably be another chapter later this month. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.